After a group of criminals kidnap the ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure, they retreat to an isolated mansion, unaware that they're locked inside with no normal little girl. All right, so
Weird way to phrase it.
that's a strange sentence.
They look around and there's no normal little girls here.
Hey, what? I expected a room full of normal
really
little
weird
girls.
I brought my tea set.
So,
Where's your little girls?
Yeah.
I only want them normal.
These balloons aren't going to stay up forever.
YUNKJunk!
what's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the Cult Pop Podcast Part 2, A Child of Scar-Giving Fire, parentheses, Director's Cut, parentheses, Episode 73, a show where we talk about movies and comics and TV shows and Walton Goggins' teeth again, because we'll never not be talking about Walton Goggins' teeth and all the other nerdy things that scratch your nerdy itches. Well, we're coming to you live from... Wait for it.
You're going to say it and then...
YUNKJunk.
YUNKJunk.
No, Brian.
YUNKJunk.
YUNKJunk.
Oh, YUNKJunk.
Wait, what's the is the emphasis on the
yunk or the junk?
Yeah. What are we, yeah.
YUNKJunk.
Which one do you already
Is it an
assume?
exclamation point or a question mark? YUNKJunk?
YUNKJunk.
I like to switch
Junk
it up.
HQ, a bomb-ass
I'm Ron
podcast
Burgundy.
production space in Philadelphia,
I
Pennsylvania.
believe it means whale's vagina.
I'm your balletic and
Santiago.
blood-sucking host, JD of JD's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 19127. A rad-ass comic shop that
What do I do
caters
with
to
my hands
rad-ass
moment?
folks like yourself. What else? Oh, hey, with me tonight is Brian.
Hi.
And Noel.
Hi.
And Alice. Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan. Dylan the Great. Remember, if
His
anything goes
cheeseburger.
wrong, Dylan did it.
Who gave him that nickname?
This is
Dylan the Great?
your take tonight. It's just like anything I juggle.
Please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the little bell notification, just like a but-da-da-but-da-da-but-da-da. Also, we like a little back and forth, a little give and take.
Right. Wet our
little,
whistle. Our beats too. And then the whistle after.
A little
for
quick
tat.
Yeah.
quo,
Quid pro
quo.
quo.
Yeah.
So email us at coldpopgo@gmail.com, just like this next person did, because we got letters.
We got letters.
Oh, we got lots and lots and lots and lots of letters. Hello,
Letters.
Cult Pop gang. This question is for Alice.
Oh my God, that's
Look at
me.
this smile.
I'm so excited I got a letter.
Since I hear they are the resident Percy Jackson aficionado, my 8-year-old daughter is into all things Percy Jacks right now. We have seen the 2 movies, watched the first season of the new series on Disney Plus, and are currently reading Sea of Monster with her.
It's a cool title.
The second
Question.
book?
Sea of Monsters.
It's got to be a plural,
is,
right?
it's plural.
Or like Seas of Monster. Question.
Seas the
One
monster.
sea, lots of monsters.
Besides all the things listed above, do you have any other recommendations of books, comic books, graphic novels, or any other mediums that are related to Percy Jackson? She is also very much into the Medusa character, so recommendations on that front are welcome as well. Best, Dane P. Zadowski, MED.
Masters of Education.
Mowski.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Zadowski.
Alice, you're up. Go.
Kosa said, look who's got a letter. I am so excited that you wrote about Percy Jackson. I am currently reading, it's another Rick Riordan. I just learned that I was saying his name wrong.
It's not Riordan.
It's not Riordan, it's Riordan,
Thank you.
I believe. I could be saying it wrong
No,
again.
it's not.
Yeah, you thought you were right before.
Maybe.
You
That's
thought you were right last
pretentious.
time. and
Maybe.
look where
No,
we
it's
are.
not.
So I'm
Customer's
reading
always
the
right.
series after Percy Jackson called The Heroes of Olympus series. And the first one is Lost Hero. And it doesn't primarily focus on Percy. There's other characters in the world and other mythologies. But like Percy and the rest of the gang still make appearances. So it's a really fun read. I'm halfway through it. But from my sister who's read all the books, she says it's even better than Percy Jackson. So looking forward to that. As for graphic novels, I don't read a lot of like graphic novels that would be 8-year-old friendly. I don't know if you'd have any.
That's a hardcore that she reads.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all
It's all-
hustler.
Yeah. I just walk into your shop and I'm like,
Yeah.
give it to me.
Yeah.
You have also yet?
What? What's out of reach of children? Give it to me.
But wait,
but also, I'm short, so hand it to me.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Yeah.
Get it.
For other books, not graphic novel related, it's not mythology, but I believe my sister was also into this when she was reading Percy Jackson. And I know my mom, who was a elementary school teacher, recommended this to her students. Spiderwick Chronicles is supposed to be a very fun book.
Heard of it?
Oh, I've heard.
And my mother also loves and always recommends to her students a book called The Sisters Grimm. And it's like modern takes on fairy tales and other like Grimm's Fairy Tales.
Dylan
so,
just made a face on
yeah,
that one.
Dylan.
Yeah.
I heard
Dylan
a
always
little
likes my
noise
fun
from him, too.
recommendations.
I have a question that's related but not related whatsoever.
Yeah.
Does the fan base for Percy Jackson and the Olympians have a moniker or like, you know, Potterheads or
Jacksonians.
the Jacksonians, the
Ooh.
Ooh, that would be good. Like
Olympians,
well,
Perseids is what
the
they
place
should call
where
themselves.
Percy heads. Yeah.
Percy heads.
the
Yeah.
place where all the demigods go is Camp Half-Blood. So you'll see a lot of people wearing Camp Half-Blood like camp T-shirts. They're-
Half-Bloods.
Yeah.
They're in a feud with the Half Crips.
Oh no.
That one was
I
good.
guess.
Thank you.
That one was good.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different ways you could go with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh my
Gangbusters.
There
god.
are a couple
Yeah.
of graphic
Yeah.
novels, but from my understanding, the graphic novels are just retellings of the stories you probably already read. I don't think
Yeah.
that they are.
Anything like Medusa related that would be kid friendly
I
though.
don't want-
Mm.
Yeah, I'm going
I'm
through a
gonna
lot
look
of
into
stuff
it.
in my
I want to read it
mind.
too now if there is.
So to answer your question, Dane, like immediately there's the new book by Riordan.
Mhm.
But we'll get back to you if there's any like
Yeah.
graphic novels or comics that are in that line. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, he's actually in the chat saying, "Mind blown. Thank you, Alice. My daughter is going to Camp Half-Blood summer camp also."
Stop.
Totally
There's a
careful.
Camp Half-Blood
I'm
summer
so
camp.
excited.
Is your daughter?
What's the other half of
So
your daughter?
was-
half
What is
Olympian?
she? Yeah.
Yeah.
What sort of deity
Wait,
is she?
are you a god?
Oh yeah, that's true. That was very rude of me to assume that you
Someone
were the
asks
human
if
in
you're
that.
a god. You say yes.
Yes.
Are we
Wow,
all?
that's pretty
Wait,
cool.
now I want to know what cabin would she be in? Because there's different cabins based on like what.
Dane, if you could type
Deity
in what
or-
cabin she'd be in while we
Yeah,
continue
let me
on.
know.
Is this like,
what-
in Harry Potter where everybody is like, I would be in Gryffindor?
Yeah, is it
Not
social
really.
strata like in
no,
Harry Potter?
I've heard like a lot
Like a
of
caste system?
variety.
Yeah, actually, as I said that, I was like, I can think of a bunch of people that would probably
Yeah.
be. And I'd probably go Ravenclaw myself.
I'm
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm Hufflepuff.
Okay. That's cool.
I get
I
a
took the
50-50
test.
split on quizzes, Hufflepuff, Gryffindor, but I'm Hufflepuff. I know it.
I'd rather be a Hufflepuff.
And the
Yeah.
hat sends you where you feel you should go.
I want to be
Right.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, smart snacks,
Smart
Yeah,
snacks.
they're right by the
smart
kitchen.
snacks.
snacks,
Yeah.
plants, animals.
I think I'd be in the Hades cabin, just for anybody wondering.
That's cool.
I was
He
one,
gets a
so
bad
thank
rap. You
Yeah.
know, people are like, oh, he's over all the bad
He's just
stuff.
got a
But
job.
the good,
Yeah.
He's
the
got a
good
job,
afterlife
he's
is
good
there
at it.
too.
She would be with
You know?
Annabeth for sure. Oh, I love that. I think my sister would be in that cabin too. Athena. That's the Athena cabin.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you guys, there's a book, and this is going to take a little work from our listener audience or viewers, because I don't know the title, but the author, I believe, is Marion Zimmer Bradley, and there's a couple about
I'll look it up.
Arthurian legend and Atlantis stuff. And if I remember correctly, I read these like 20 years ago. They're about people reborn. You know, those people.
Oh.
No,
Dark
it
over.
is not The Mists of Babylon by Marion
Gordon
Zimmer Bradley.
Sorcerer.
No, it's not Marion
He's
Zimmer
gonna
Bradley.
read
I
her.
never read that book.
Oh.
Let's go
gonna
through.
read it.
You know what?
Yeah.
Let's call an audible. We're gonna go through the entire bibliography of Marion Zimmer Bradley for the next 2 hours. If you guys want to join us, that'd be totally fine. So let's just scroll down.
She
the
was born
entire
in
bibliography.
1930. She lived on a farm in
She's-
Albany, New York.
Probably not somebody we want to
She
talk
allegedly
about.
had
Oh,
knowledge
okay.
of brain section.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Never
Oh,
mind.
okay. Never mind.
But the authors that I'm thinking of, now that I remember, there's actually two of them, and they wrote something about Atlantis and something about the Arthurian stuff coming back. And if I can figure it out, The Forever King was the title of one of them. I'm almost
Okay.
positive. And
This is quality television.
We
hey,
are
if we get to this,
we are just
We
straight.
figure
We're
it out.
throwing darts
I
at
also
ideas.
I have another
Forever
question for
King.
Dane. I never saw the second movie. I never saw the Sea of Monsters movie. Is it worth watching? I like Nathan Fillion. I know he's in it.
Woo.
Yeah,
love
but like
Nathan Fillion.
I didn't love the first movie, but I would consider rewatching it. I loved the series.
Oh, Robert Monroe Jr. says, "What's up, Cult Poppers? I live outside of Albany, New York."
nice.
Ah.
I know the area.
Apparently,
a
you
little
don't want to look up this woman we were just talking about, though. Let's leave her alone.
Yeah. But the book that I was thinking of is called The
King.
Forever King by Molly Cochran and a different person also. Stephen something, but that'll be enough for you to find it.
Dane,
Warren
when your
Murphy.
when
Warren
your daughter
Murphy.
when
So
your
close.
daughter's older, just read
called him
Once
Warren.
in Future.
Oh,
Once
my
in
gosh,
Future.
Also
yeah.
awesome.
Costa
Yeah.
loves that. I
It's
need
a
to
good
read
one.
that.
It's
That's on my
great.
list.
Yeah.
Anywhomst, that was our email section, although we
We do have another email letter. Yeah.
we're going to move on to our next segment, which I lovingly call "What Have You Been Up To This Week, Huh?" Wherein I ask our co-hosts, "What have you been up to this week?" And then I add a very annoying "huh" at the end. Watch, just like this. Hey, Noel.
I didn't know I was required to actually respond.
What have you been up to this week? Huh?
I have been I've been watching a lot of horror movies the last week.
Me too.
My wife's been out of town, so I get to watch whatever I want.
He's a big boy.
I'm a big boy.
Big boy now.
I get to order what I want. I get to watch what I want, and it's stuff that we don't watch together. So it's great. But I remember on Twitter, a conversation on film Twitter a couple months ago about this movie that came out in theaters last year that I completely skipped because I thought it looked stupid. But apparently it's fantastic. So I remembered that recommendation and I looked it up, and it's on Netflix. It's called The Pope's Exorcist, starring Russell Crowe, directed by Julius Avery. This is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Really?
That's not true.
It's not true.
Wow.
This is one of the most fun movies I've seen in a while.
I fully believed you for a minute. I was like, holy shit.
I thought it was possible.
It's Russell Crowe as an Italian priest who is the official Vatican's exorcist.
So that's the breakdown of the title.
He's literally the Pope's exorcist.
Like he works for the Pope. He's not like exercising.
There is
the Pope.
one exorcist that is designated to the Diocese of Rome, and that is him. He is the Pope's official exorcist.
Oh.
And it's based on the actual files of Father Gabriele Amort, chief exorcist of the Vatican.
Anybody can write files.
Yep. So
I want to read those files.
So this movie, the trailers didn't really do it justice. It's a very silly movie that plays it straight.
But intentionally.
Yeah. Okay. It's a very silly movie that plays it straight. It's the director previously did Overlord,
which was amazing.
What was that?
It was all right. I don't think it was amazing. It was
better than the best movie you've ever seen.
It wasn't better
Pope's
than
Exorcist.
No, it wasn't, because Pope's Exorcist was tight and I knew exactly what it was. Overlord was about 30 minutes too long.
Did you watch it too?
And had
okay.
I never saw it.
That's honestly what I thought. I was like, why are you hating on this thing?
Pope's Exorcist was
never
great.
will.
This piece of shit.
It is a masterclass in escalation, especially in like the horror genre. It starts as a small kind of haunted house type style movie, and it just keeps escalating to, this is also about the
sins of the church.
The sins of the church.
Oh.
And it's also about this. It's also about this. And it goes full tilt Evil Dead by the end of the movie with crazy special effects. And the whole time you're wondering, like, Russell Crowe signed up for this?
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a wonderful movie.
I did. I also watched it.
I made him watch it.
It was a lot of fun. I had started watching it 2 months ago, and just kind of fell off and forgot about it. I haven't been able to stay up and watch horror movies as much recently, but this week I did. And yeah, this was exactly what you said. Not the first time, the second time. Not the best movie of all time, but it was the most fun you've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got Alexandra Esso in it, who I liked from a movie,
right?
under the radar horror film called Starry Eyes, which was awesome. And yeah, this really does just sort of like escalate until ridiculousness, where I'm just like laughing at how stupid it is, but it
goes in weird places too, like the Inquisition and fucking like all kinds of crazy stuff. And also it takes place in 1987. So the soundtrack is all awesome, like Faith No More songs.
Oh my gosh.
And also he rides around on a little red and white Vespa.
So like scene transitions are him on a Vespa to like dope ass 80s songs.
Yeah.
This is already the greatest movie I've ever seen, and I haven't seen it yet.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Does he get the little, like, not just the black and white stuff, but the thing that goes around his neck, the scarf, or
when
whatever
he
they
needs
call
the
it?
armor of God.
The scarf.
When he
The God scarf.
when he
The God
requires
scarf.
the armor of God, it's all in the movie. It's so dumb fun.
Does the armor of God look like armor?
Like that? No,
It's like it's
prayers and
I don't know what they call
blessed
it.
things, man.
The God scarf.
not scarf.
The purple.
Yeah, the purple.
The purple raiment. The raiment.
It
Never
goes
would've known
hard.
that.
It's really fun. I had a hell of a fun time. This is like a really good horror on Netflix.
You will spend the entire time going, Russell Crowe, really?
And he crushes it.
He does. Yeah. He doesn't phone it in, man. He's there having a good time.
He does whatever he
Wonderful
wants.
movie. All right.
JD.
Oh, hey, hi. I'm here.
Or no, you know what? I'd rather ask Brian.
Hey, what's up?
He's more interesting
Brian,
than me.
Thank you.
How you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Noel, how are you?
You know what? I've had better days, but today's a good
What
one.
have you been up to this week, huh?
I was talking to Noel, but
That was really rude of you.
It was getting boring.
I'm sorry he
it
interrupted.
was about to get crazy.
Hey.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color?
You asked this one before, and he didn't answer you.
No, I still want to know.
I'm not sure. I really like the blues and the dark teals and the teals and the
The jewel tones.
Oh yeah.
any tone that comes in a jewel. which is where I keep my tones.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not the singer.
What you been up
I
to
thought
this
the
week?
singer
Tonight.
too.
Now I'm bored.
So anyway, you guys, enough about your silly questions. I want to get to this silly question. Yeah, they were great questions, and we're still not at it. So anyway, I was watching Silicon Valley.
Oh, there it is.
You never know when it's happening. JD recommended it.
I did.
think it was off air because we talk after the show is done too. And,
I don't.
Not willingly.
sparingly.
I leave
Not
immediately.
But,
I don't know these guys.
Mostly grimacing.
Yeah.
yeah.
But go on. Silicon Valley.
He was like, Silicon Valley is pretty good. I don't remember why, but he said, you should watch it. I really think you'd like it. And it's a show that for a long time I've been aware of. I really like Thomas Middleditch a lot,
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
I've seen him in so few things. I've wanted to watch Middleditch and Schwartz for a long time. And even just like the concept of what that is, I'm like, Thomas Middleditch is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So anyway, so I turn it on and
The credits happened, and
yeah, the quick like
Were you
little
sitting
Silicon
down?
Valley thing. I don't remember, but probably.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what though, we were watching this show. We get I was watching it with Tamara, my fiance, and so we were about 3 episodes in, and she says to me, "When does the girl travel back in time with the songs?" And I said, "That's a
What?
different movie that we were thinking about watching." And then I said, "Do you want to watch Silicon Valley?" JD recommended it, and then we are watching this now. It was 3 episodes. She went on
Wait.
faith that there would be.
What
Time travel?
What?
Yeah.
What show or movie is time travel with songs?
I don't remember the name of it. It's a woman finds that by I think listening to particular songs she can go back. to,
greatest hits. Yeah.
Oh,
So okay.
Yes. and it looks
Sounds
really good.
cool.
And,
What's
yeah,
that?
it's on Hulu.
oh,
And we are interested in watching it. We haven't watched it yet. And I was like, which woman? There's like 2 women in Silicon Valley in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, which woman did you think it was? She was like, I thought she would show up from
She'd pop in.
the future,
Yeah.
right?
Like
yeah.
90 minutes of
I was
setup.
listening to these songs, and now I'm here, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be
Bye.
so
And they're like,
funny.
that song-
What did
that just came out.
What did you think of Silicon Valley? I don't know if we have to. Is anybody not familiar with Silicon Valley, the television show?
I didn't know too much
on
about it,
HBO.
but the real quick is that there's this guy. He comes up with this very cool app code thing, and he doesn't really know what he has, and he
The video compression software, I believe, right?
yeah, and or in everything, and which is a very cool. You know, when a show like this needs to come up with something that would be really great,
Yeah.
it's an interesting art in itself,
Mhm.
and this one is good. That is the kind of thing that could take
Yeah.
off and be very, very sought after and valuable. So, so they come up with this thing, and he has the option like, do I take $10 million for it or start my own company? And he decided to start his own company. So it's them trying to get this like potentially gold mine of a thing going, which, you know, watching it, you have the feeling like you're watching them build
Yeah,
a billions of dollars
Most,
industry.
Yeah.
most of the at least most of the first season, actually most of like the first 2 seasons takes place in a incubator, a house that is rented out by just a guy, literally a guy. And they have these in California all the time, just like tech incubators. They'll let you live there for a nominal fee.
Is that right? Oh, interesting.
To just like work, collaborate together to build something. It's like people will rent out their houses
Oh,
to
that's cool.
to like take a piece of whatever they end up making.
That's cool. Do you think I could live there?
I mean, are you worth it?
Yes. Let me work it.
Yeah. I don't
time
have
down,
an
flip it, and
incubator. I don't have
reverse
an
it.
incubator. I don't
If
know
I
what you're
get the
talking about.
chance.
Yeah.
So Tamara was very into it though, and we have now watched a bunch more, and we really like it. It's so well acted. There's so many people who I did not realize were
Yeah.
in this. The guy from Party Down, that other guy, they're all in it.
That other guy.
Also, that lady.
I love
The
that
lady
other
is in
guy.
it too, and the third guy. That third
Oh,
guy.
I love the third guy.
Yeah. The taller one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
I
hair.
love him.
He does have the hair.
TJ Miller, Kumail Nanjiani,
Mhm.
Zach
and
Woods.
Star,
That's
Martin
his
Starr,
name?
Martin Starr.
Zach Woods is in
Right.
it.
Zach
Yeah.
Woods. I like Zach Woods.
Dagwood, like from Blondie. So I also had the opportunity to watch some TV and movies that I wanted to over the weekend, and I watched for the first time Deadpool 2.
Oh.
And it was awesome. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's that guy from Silicon Valley. Is Weasel, the bartender
Oh
friend.
my god,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
TJ
TJ
Miller.
Miller.
And who's also in Office Christmas Party. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, this guy's great. I'm
He's not
into this
great.
guy. Personally, he's not great.
Yeah.
In real, his
He's-
characters.
I believe
Very
I
great.
believe he's gone. I believe
Is that a fact? I know he's not in
Yeah.
Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
but it seemed more like he and Ryan Reynolds had a disagreement. I didn't look into it.
But
you
not
know.
worth it.
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You'd recommend Silicon Valley.
I would highly recommend
Yeah.
Silicon Valley. It's so much fun. I love to watch the great thing could be happening. These guys are really good at their stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of deal, you know.
Mhm.
Have you probably, it's probably not till the third episode,
You're
third
talking
season.
about the dick tip ratio.
I was gonna say
So-
something about it.
Yeah.
So
It's like the most popular
it's
episode.
like the end of season 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a while, but
Oh well, don't tell me
it's
too much.
well. No,
No.
I mean,
No.
This
that's
is all you need.
my
Oh, I
favorite.
went.
My favorite aspect of that show is they are very specific types of people.
Yes.
They are analytical problem solvers. So you can't have normal conversations with analytical problem solvers because someone will say something sarcastic and they will approach it literally and or with
Mhm.
in the second season, a joke is made.
Hmm.
And then they literally go on a tear on a whiteboard, figuring out exactly how that would even be,
mathematics.
Yeah.
like the mathematics
That
of it all.
sounds cool.
And that is
Yeah.
just
Great.
like
It's really fun.
I watched it twice in a row. Like
That
I
is like-
immediately rewound it just to
Oh,
watch
nice.
that scene
a
again.
microcosm of the entire show, where it's
Oh,
very,
cool.
very on the nose, specific, direct people in weird circumstances.
You know
Just
what?
the
Not that
comedy
that's
is
come up.
how direct they are.
I want to say that's how I got into the show. I feel like everyone was talking about that joke.
scene.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what's this joke? And then I
Right.
watched that scene,
You were
and then
into
I was
it.
like, oh. And I went straight
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to the
Yeah.
beginning.
I'm
Yeah, it was
looking forward
awesome.
to that.
Yeah.
And the rest of it. We just watched the episode where the tall guy, the one with the hair that you mentioned,
Yeah.
he gets a ride home from a driverless car.
Martin Starr, the Satanist.
No. The other tall guy.
Zach Woods.
Zach
Yes.
Woods.
Who's great.
And
He's
also
just an
in The
after party
Office.
in the office.
Yeah.
And he just got stuck in the self-driving car and shipped to an island
Oh, right.
of like
Oh, yeah.
shipping containers for a
Yeah.
while, which was fun. And then they continued that being something that happened to him in the next episode. So yeah, I am very much enjoying them doing their thing, and
Yeah.
it's a very pleasant and pleasing show.
Jonathan Destructovich.
That's me.
What have you been up to this week, huh?
I also have been watching some horror films.
Horror.
And
Hmm.
It's
mine
halfway to
was,
Halloween, right?
is it?
It is.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on top of the Pope's exorcism,
Just about.
I also watched Late Night with the Devil.
Exorcist. The Pope was not
Oh,
exorcised.
you know what? Did you catch what he said?
No.
Because I wanted
Catch it
that to
now.
be the movie.
If
He wanted the Pope lifting dumbbells,
yeah, and
exercising.
and Russell Crowe being like, yeah,
Get it?
yeah.
No, he was saying
the Pope.
What if was he exercising the Pope?
What
Like
if-
the Pope
what
was
if
taking-
the-
Pope?
the Pope's exorcist was an exorcist who had to exorcise the Pope who was
right? He was demon.
Well, we're hoping there would be sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know where it goes.
the Pope's
Anyway,
exercising
late,
now.
late night with the Late Night with the Devil,
Pope's
rated R
gymnast.
horror film that dropped in 2023. And I think the most of the hubbubbery that I got from this movie is because there are a couple of gone to commercial cards that the TV show in this movie uses, and they are created by AI.
I was going to ask about
So
that. Yeah.
I didn't hear much about the movie itself. I've only heard about the faux pas of using AI for your art instead of paying an actual artist. But I do love the main actor in this film, whose name is David
Dashmalian.
Dashmalian.
Dashmalian. Thank you, because I would
Awesome
not
guy.
have
I
pronounced
never
that
would have
correctly.
gotten that.
Dashmalkian.
Dashmalkian.
Yeah, CH.
Oh,
I've
cool.
heard other people say it.
And it's
Huh,
directed by
okay.
Cameron and Colin Carnes.
Yeah.
Also
Didn't
written
know
by
there
those
was a CH in
gentlemen.
it.
Yeah, Dashmalkian.
A live television broadcast in 1977 goes horribly wrong,
Oh.
unleashing evil
Oh.
into the nation's living rooms. So
But just there.
yeah, just
Okay,
and then
good.
not
The kitchen is
yeah,
fine.
not
The kitchen.
the foyer is all right.
One
Nice.
person's living room.
So, Noel, you watch this.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was wonderful. The structure of the movie is kind of like the whole gag. So
Yes.
like it's you're watching a rediscovered found footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Oh, I
watching a
love found
rediscovered
footage.
master tape of this episode of a forgotten TV show that went horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And what's cool about it is the very beginning of the movie is a documentary style introduction to the master tape you're about to watch. So it feels like a documentary in a really, really good way. And yeah, it's really effective. It totally worked. It creeped the fuck out of me at the end. Like the last 15 minutes creeped me out.
Okay.
And I don't get creeped out easy.
It did not creep me out, but I did enjoy it. It was a fun watch. I was in, and I really liked the format that you mentioned. It was just you're just watching this broadcast, and then they also give you what's happening after they've gone to commercial. So the cameras are still rolling. You get to see, although it's a little unrealistic at times, because why would anyone be following them around? And then at the very end, there's like a crane shot.
That's for
us. It's just for us,
well,
not
I mean,
for
the
what happens.
perspective of the movie changes at that point too. Yeah.
So I thought this was really fun. It doesn't really smash the genre mold at all, but it is a fun found footage film.
Nice.
You mean the found footage genre?
Yeah.
There's nothing to smash in it. It's a very straightforward genre.
Yeah. If you found actual found footage and turned it into a movie, that would smash the genre.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That
It
would be
probably really boring.
Could be. That's why people haven't done that. There's
It's
plenty of found
similar to
footage.
everyone.
It's just
Yeah.
someone's
Yeah.
like TikTok
Yeah.
drafts.
Yeah.
The slow
Just someone like
maddening.
flossing.
I'm gonna go to Cannes with someone's old home videos practicing flossing. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
That would be interesting, though, if you could
my TikTok.
cut it together. Producing your own
found-
content.
Frame it up, Costa. Frame it up. Sorry. Anyway, so I loved the movie. I thought it was wonderful. It's on Shudder.
Streaming now.
Streaming now.
Go
So
watch it.
Silicon
I have
Valley
to
was on
watch it.
Max. Late Night with the Devil was on
Right.
Shudder.
Right.
Pope's Exorcist is on Netflix. They're all streaming available right now. But that leads us to what?
That leads us to Alice.
What have you
Me?
been?
What have you been up
What
to?
are you doing?
I haven't.
Huh?
I haven't been up to a ton, but I did watch a trailer today that I wanted to talk about.
Cool. What's it for?
Bambi: The Reckoning.
By the makers of Blood and Honey, Winnie the Pooh.
I was
Makes
just
sense.
going to ask if anybody's seen that one because I haven't.
I have not seen it.
I have not seen
You
it.
haven't seen it?
I am
I'm
aware of it, but I've
surprised.
never seen the trailer.
I am too.
Seems like you would have seen that.
It does,
Yeah.
but
I heard the first one was terrible.
I'm definitely
There's
going to see
two?
Bambi: The Reckoning. It's only a minute long, the trailer, but
Oh,
it's
that's not too much of a commitment.
no.
All right.
Yeah, that's why I had time to do it this week. I had a very busy week, but I had time for that. Spoiler alert for the trailer, but there's like two hunters in the woods, and it's like all ominous, and they're doing target practice. And the one guy's like, "Have you ever shot a deer?" It's like, "Yeah, once." And then it cuts to a car zooming down the street and a giant deer coming and flipping the car, and that's the end of the trailer.
Wait, so
Like with its horns?
so
Antlers,
we're to
they like to
believe
call them?
this is a revenge film
Yes.
because that was Bambi's mom.
Yeah.
Right. The
So-
one deer that this guy shot.
So this comes
But-
out October 31st of this year. It is part of the Twisted Childhood universe, which is public domain horror movies, which includes Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, Pinocchio Unstrung, Bambi the Reckoning, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. And I believe they have announced a big universe movie.
The Pooniverse.
The Pooniverse movie.
Universe.
I'm
That's
not
good name.
kidding.
That's a
It's
good
called
name for it.
Pooniverse Monsters
Monsters
Assemble.
Assemble.
So something about me is this actually kind of looked good, but even if Blood and Honey is bad, I still want to see it because I do love bad horror movies also,
Oh,
as in
absolutely.
addition to good
Yeah.
horror movies. So I want to get involved in the Pooniverse.
The
I didn't
poster
know
for
it was
the
a whole
Pooniverse
thing.
has Winnie the Pooh
Look how scary
riding
Pinocchio is.
the
Bambi, I
the
assume.
Riding
Bambi.
Bambi.
Who's that guy up on the left in the top hat?
I was just gonna ask. Who that guy?
I don't know.
Also, is Bambi, that was a Disney original, right? Or was
No.
that a story? That was a story before?
Yeah.
Okay.
No idea.
Mm.
That's the only of all of Disney's things where you're like, oh yeah, that one definitely was.
It's
yeah.
Bambi the Reckoning comes out this
Bambi the
October.
Re- What
I'm gonna
other
be seeing it.
ones could they do? Right? Like what other public
I
domain
didn't even know they did
childhood
Peter
stuff?
Pan
I mean,
and Pinocchio.
Me either. Until
I'm-
right now.
I'm sure there'll be like a post-credit scene of Steamboat Willie.
What else we got?
Little Red Riding Hood.
You know, they actually specifically said, I don't know who was the writer or director or whatever, said, we are not doing that. And we recommend that none of the rest of you get the idea to do that either, because Winnie the Pooh is one thing. Disney will come after you.
There's already like a Steamboat Willie horror movie announced.
Really?
Well, right. I mean, somebody else maybe announced one, but I think the Blood and Honey guy was like, we're
We don't
staying
want
away
that
from
kind
that.
of smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want
Yeah.
that kind of. We don't want that heat.
We cannot
We don't want that
afford.
Disney heat.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to take on Disney.
Yeah, we have another letter.
We should do our other letter before
is
we
it?
get into our main
Yeah,
review.
yeah.
This
What's
one
it
is
about?
from Chris St. Saucy Goodnight. He says, you're going to read it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
but I didn't know which part not to say. Okay, so, since I don't know if you guys are doing a movie tonight or what movie you're doing, I'm going to guess it's either Late Night with the Devil, gotcha, or Abigail, which hit theaters last weekend. Both are solid 4-star movies.
Bravo.
Thank you, Chris. Late Night with the Devil was really good found footage horror movie, best one I've seen since the OG Cloverfield, and I'm really glad I got to see it in theaters. My only real problem with it is I wish we could have lived in the initial possession scene a little longer. Oh, it's fair. I mean, yeah, all right. I don't know why people are having a problem with the ending. You can't be fine with the premise and then say that what happens at the ending is too much too far.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know people were having a problem with the ending.
I haven't heard anybody talking about this movie at all, except for the AI thing.
Yeah.
That's all I heard about it too.
Yeah.
As for
Sucks.
Abigail, when it comes to horror, I am not a huge fan of gore. Fluids of any kind.
Squick me
me
out.
Squick. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
squick me
just
out.
keep
Nice.
wanting to hose them down. Other than that, loved
I
it.
can get that.
Great cast, great premise that despite you think from the trailer isn't completely spoiled. It's Clue with vampires, what's not to love. Well, I guess the timeline of the movie could have been better. It's dark, it's light, it's dark again with no real sense of time passing. I didn't have a problem with that personally, but that's fair. I'm going to skip this part because it's a little bit of a spoiler. But he does throw something out at the end there. While I don't think the movie as a whole is as good as the Brendan Fraser Mummy, I think the lead heroine could lead a franchise where she takes on the rest of the classic monsters.
Oh.
Just-
Melissa Barrera
Just
would
don't
be great,
do
yeah.
what the Mummy did and double down on the same monster over and over again.
Nice.
Excellent letter, Chris. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Now,
Which leads us to,
yeah, we're going to talk about Abigail.
Here it comes.
all right, our main review, Abigail. So we're going to talk about the film, no spoilers, and then we're going to let you know when it's spoiler time, so just be aware.
We are going to still talk about Rebel Moon after this. So
Yeah,
stick
so-
around.
We do have a lot to say about that as
We
well.
have a lot to say about Rebel Moon.
Yes.
Abigail, directed by Matt Bettinelli, Open, and Tyler Gillett, starring Melissa Barrera, Dan Stevens. Those eyes.
He's so great.
Those
Stay-
eyes.
This is awesome.
Stay on
Legion.
target.
Yeah.
Stay on target.
Catherine Newton and Alicia Ware, after a group of criminals kidnap the ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure, they retreat to an isolated mansion, unaware that they are locked inside with no normal little girl. All right, so
Weird way to phrase it.
that's a
They're
strange
like,
sentence.
They look around and there's no normal little girls here.
Hey, what? I expected a room full of
There's
normal
really
little
weird
girls.
I brought my
ones.
tea set.
So,
Where's your little girls?
Yeah.
I only want them normal.
These balloons aren't going to stay up forever.
we should go around and we'll give our
balloons.
first impressions of Abigail.
Always like balloons.
But
Whatever, man.
I hate them. Sorry.
I can say all girls like balloons.
You kind of did. Don't put me in a box.
did you?
kind
Get
of
in that
did.
box with the balloon.
You're gonna be canceled with TJ Miller.
Oh.
Balloon
So
canceled.
we're gonna go through and give our quick thoughts.
No.
I saw the trailer, you guys,
Already
and
go.
I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, is this a horror comedy or is it like a horror comedy? And how much is
It's a
funny?
horror comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that doesn't clear it up at all, but we'll get into it.
I
I
don't
didn't
think
see this
It's
movie.
I don't think you'd like it.
No,
Um,
cool.
Who
Well, I
first?
pointed to you.
Me? What do you want? My opinion?
Your initial reaction
Okay.
to the
On this
movie
movie.
without spoilers. Did you like it?
Thumbs up.
How
Yeah,
many?
I enjoyed it. I think it was wonderful. This is the writer-director team, Radio Silence, who did Ready or Not, the two Scream movie, the two most recent Scream movies, and other things I completely forgot about. But either way, great. And they nailed it again. This was really fun. I think the movie drags in the middle, but the third act is so fun and so big that it's pretty much forgiven in the time span. Yeah, but yeah, it's wonderful.
Alice.
I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
Who
Jenny,
doubled your thumb?
How many did you
Thumbs
do now?
I just said thumbs up.
But then you only
That's at
showed us
least
a
2.
thumb.
I needed something to do with my hands. So
You
What?
did it.
I guess one
Isn't
and a
that
half.
always the question? Like, what do I do with my hands?
Fractional stuff?
So 2 thumbs up. Go on.
2 thumbs up.
1.42 thumbs.
1.42 thumbs.
I thought it was so much fun. I love. This is gonna sound weird. I love when like there's like a creepy child in a
Mhm.
horror movie.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I love Pet Cemetery.
It's the opposite of Sam.
Did you see M3 again?
What's up?
creepy
Did you see
M3 again?
Mithrigan?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
I got some vibes of Mithrigan in this.
To be
with
fair,
You guys say
dancing.
M3
That's a
again.
doll.
I say
It must be
M3.
regional dialect.
That's not a little
no,
girl.
it's because
a doll.
I was a fan of this podcast before I joined this
Little-
podcast, and I
little-
heard you guys call it Mithrigan so much that now I call it Mithrigan.
As you should.
It's a little girl doll.
Yeah. She's young. She was just
or
created.
a doll little girl. Either way, little girl is part of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a doll of a teddy bear. It's different.
Well, she's a girl. She's a vampire. But
Yeah.
a girl
So
vampire. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought the actress who plays Abigail was her Alicia Ware. She was so
Unbelievable.
good.
Yeah, man.
She was really good at switching from being like terrified, oh my God, don't hurt me, little girl, to I'm about to kill you.
But she was just pretending to be terrified.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
So
she was scared.
I
sometimes.
thought she was so good that as we were walking home from the theater, I was like, "Did you ever see what was it's a grown woman playing a little girl?
Oh, Orphan.
Orphan,
Yeah.
Orphan, and the prequel.
I never saw the
is
prequel.
a
First
movie
Kill
about a little
Parents.
girl that
It's like First Murder,
she is
First Kill.
played by a grown woman
Mhm.
actress
I think
who
she was like
just happens
33.
to look like a little girl.
Yeah.
Oh, does she have
This-
that syndrome?
Yes.
I think they
Oh, wow.
digitally de-aged her for the second movie.
I think they did too for the second
just-
one, yeah.
But like she's already petite.
Mhm.
So I was wondering if Alicia Weir, I don't know who she is. I was like, is that another grown
She
woman
was
actress?
in-
She was that good.
Wow.
She was in the new like Matilda musical. She's like a theater person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was she was not Matilda.
I don't know if she was
Okay.
Matilda. I know she was in it. And
Okay.
like so I'm pretty sure she did like the dancing for this movie, which was like actually
she
impressive.
does. She's not
They
just a
usually, like,
ballerina in
ballet.
name.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Well, I didn't realize this was Radio Silence that did it, and the whole time after we left the theater, we were walking home. I was like, this really reminded me of Ready or Not,
Yeah.
and then I felt really stupid when I got home and I realized it was the same director.
One of my all-time favorite.
Well, I'm
Oh,
glad,
so
I'm
good,
glad you
yeah.
felt stupid.
I think that would
yeah,
make
I
you
felt
feel smart.
so
So
dumb.
dumb.
You're like, I recognize this thing.
No.
so
Well, I
dumb.
recognize the pattern. but-
I do.
Smart.
I think Ready or Not was better, but
Oh,
this
it
was really, really
It
good.
was, yeah. But yeah, I think this was a lot of fun. My biggest problem with this movie was the trailer. But the movie itself, I thought was fantastic. I did not feel that it was dragging. Like I was in from jump, and I really enjoyed it the whole way through. There was a lot of wonderful violence and very silly scenes.
Mhm.
They definitely wasn't taking itself too seriously. And seeing Giancarlo Esposito
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
he
great.
was so
get down,
fun.
that was awesome.
He got
Yeah.
that like danced.
No.
Yeah.
But like Dan Stevens, who
Yes.
I love, I never knew who Dan Stevens was until I watched The Guest,
Eurovision.
which is one of my all-time favorite thrillers.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome. And then every time he shows up, I'm just delighted.
Because you did not watch Legion, which was an amazing.
I did watch some Legion,
You did.
and it did not keep me. I got bored and left.
Amazing.
Yeah.
One of the best,
Okay.
in my opinion. Actually, I do think that seriously. But
Yeah, like
he's
yeah,
great.
Yeah, he
it's-
is.
Yeah.
I had to double check. It's an hour and 50 minutes. It's almost 2 hours. I just feel like the movie doesn't even really start until. Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 get to know you scenes, and I was just like, let's go.
But I was enjoying the get to know yous. I like the get to know yous. Sometimes we don't need it, but this time I felt like it was
You got to know.
beneficial.
The hearing you guys talk about it and seeing the trailer, I'm like, I really would like to see a movie that's about this, that's like this, that I would like. You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
that's more the tone, like Dracula's daughter kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I heard they were inspired by Dracula's daughter, actually. What about this kind of movie don't you like?
Very difficult to pin down, and
Do you
it
not
has
like
to
the
do.
gore?
I do not like the horror,
Oh,
but then
okay.
there is some horror that I'm like, what other people consider horror that does not seem to be designed to scare me, but it deals with those things.
See, this to me is a bloody action thriller.
Yeah.
I don't
And
think
it
this
could
is a
be that I would
horror
watch
movie.
it and I'd be like, cool.
I actually think he would like. I do think he would like Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah?
because
Oh, really?
the concept of it and the framing of it
okay.
is like interesting enough, and then it's got like spooky bits.
Okay.
And it's not. So
I haven't seen it, but
spooky bits.
Spooky bits.
I like spooky
The
bits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like the previous times we've talked about this, it's usually it seems what I've noticed
Yes.
is what you usually have a problem with is human on human
I
violence.
do not like human
You
on
do
human
not like
stuff.
cruelty.
Oh.
You do not
Yeah.
like human on human
Yeah,
violence.
yeah.
But when it comes to just like Scream, no.
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 But a spooky ghost movie,
Mhm.
maybe depends on the content.
on
Yeah,
Hill
like,
House. Great.
He's cool with
yeah.
supernatural. He's cool with aliens. It's usually
Yeah,
just
I'm cool with
cruelty,
them.
humans.
That
Not
I
a
do
fan.
not like. And some of it does have to
Fair.
do with directorial intent because there's some like vampire stuff that I'm like, this was trying to be harsh and horror and actually make me feel like there's like a
Unsettled.
yeah. And that I don't like. But and a lot of times that is coupled with the human on human stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or like Renfield. They were kicking guys' heads off.
But it was like
I was like,
so
this is amazing.
silly.
Yeah.
Cartoon.
Yeah.
Yes. That movie was a good movie though.
I think it's always like to me when we talk about this, especially in regards to you. I think it's always comes down to cruelty.
Mm-hmm.
What is the level of cruelty, and is it on screen or intent?
Right. Like,
And
would a
that's
person
how
do
they
this
go.
in
Yeah.
the rules of our world? And
Yeah.
in those movies, like they could, and I don't like the impetus of doing that. I don't want to explore the idea of like, what does somebody get out of that? Why do they do it? What does it feel like to be in that situation? What does
Yeah.
it feel like to see someone in that? I don't want to think about those things.
Mm.
Whereas like, oh, a world of magic?
Oh,
I do
okay.
want to think about those things.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might dig this. It's more. It's
cool.
more of an
And she's a
action movie.
vampire.
It's more of a
I like
vampire
vampires.
movie. It is.
Yeah.
It is very gory, but
Okay.
it's like silly.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
very
Sometimes
silly.
that we watched something not long ago. Oh, Fallout actually. That even there were times where I was like, oh, jeez,
No.
that's rough.
I only watched the first episode of Fallout, and that has more cruelty in it than
Does it?
Yeah.
than this movie does. In
All right,
in
I'll
its
watch it.
Oh
entirety.
yeah,
How
the
old
first
is she,
episode does
really?
have a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question. I don't
Is
know
she
how
like
the actress
old,
is.
but still because she's
Oh,
a vampire?
oh,
or
yeah,
is she-
She,
yeah.
The character is very
The
old.
character.
The
Okay,
Yeah.
character
right.
is
Couple
a
hundreds.
great
Yeah, she's centuries
grandmother.
old. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Age. Like that's how long she's been around.
Is she stuck like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So she has her fun
Similar
where
to
she can.
Kirsten Dunst in
Right.
Interview with the Vampire.
And she's
Also
still looking
stuck
for
with
the
old
love of her
Robert.
father.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Did you find it?
Mm.
I don't know.
We can talk about that in
Is
spoilers.
Dan
Yeah.
Stevens?
No.
Wait, no, he's not.
He's not the father.
He's not the father.
Not the
You
father.
are not
Like that
the
dinosaur
father.
show.
Like Maury.
So let's move into spoilers for Abigail right now. I don't know what else we can really spoil for
I
this.
almost don't necessarily want to. So like this movie did pretty well this weekend, but it could do better. There are a lot of really fun little twists towards the end of the movie that I don't know if we should spoil.
Okay.
Okay.
Personally, if you
Tell
want
me
to go
about
for it,
them,
go
though,
for it.
after the show.
Yeah.
No, you should see it. I think
I
you'll
might.
like it.
I could.
Because there's fun little twists and turns and allegiance. So
Twists
you've
and
got
turns.
it's very it's classically structured with a bunch of characters who do not trust each other or should
Right.
trust each other,
Mm.
and
Well, these people
hilarity
kidnap
ensues.
a
I know,
kid, like
they're
they're not good people.
They're not
No.
good.
They get their
Exactly.
throats ripped out.
So some of them act advantageously, some of them don't. Some of
Okay.
them form alliances, some don't. Like there's a lot of really fun just character
Interesting.
twists
Okay.
Mhm.
that is part of the
And
part of the joy
I think
of the
that's
movie.
what I like about, you thought it was a little draggy in the middle, too many get to know yous, but like I enjoyed getting to know all of the characters in this because
Yeah.
they all felt like a different person with different personalities and different
Yes.
reactions to things. So I was enjoying just spending time with the characters. I found them all to be charming in one way or another.
I agree
Angus
with-
Cloud's last movie, which is a bummer.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I do think that some of it was redundant. That's
Sure.
all. It was just
Okay.
redundant. That's all.
Got it.
I felt that way towards like the middle.
That's
like
what I'm saying.
like the middle.
Yeah, like so we
The-
have the inciting incident of the kidnap, and then you find out these people don't really know each other, but they're working together, and then they set the setup, and then there's the one scene of them all getting to know each other,
Mm.
and then there's 3 or 4 scenes of them all getting to know each other back to
Okay.
back before the actual like second act kicks off,
Mm.
and I would have shaved that. Like them at the pool table is
Yeah.
most of what you needed to like really, and then you could reveal the backgrounds and what was real or what wasn't as it's going. But we did them walking around the house, them finding rooms, drinking, looking for food. Like it was a lot of, it wasn't bad. It was just like, let's tighten this up and get to like the meat because this movie is very snappy.
Where I did find that to be a problem is when I was talking earlier about the trailer.
Yeah.
This movie tells you, and the poster says, little kids can be monsters, basically. And we see in the trailer that she is a vampire. We see that there are people coming to kidnap her, and then the big twist happens like, oh my God, she's a vampire.
Yeah.
We were talking about it on the way home, and you
Yeah.
had a great idea for what the trailer would be because, right, that's the sticky wicket is the fact that we all knew that it was going to be a vampire and the characters don't know it's a vampire and they spend way too long trying to come up with answers for why things are being so weird when everyone in the audience is going, it's because she's a fucking vampire. We saw it in
Yeah.
the
Oh, she's
trailer.
not just out with it.
No,
ripping
no,
throats?
she's
And that's-
pretending to be
Oh, my
a
goodness.
little scared girl.
Okay.
That's also one of the problems with that get to know you part. They're all like investigating stuff and we're all like,
We know
Come
it's
on, get to it,
her.
get to
She's
it.
in the
Yeah.
bedroom.
Yeah.
But then the other problem with not having that is that we all went together to go see the little girl vampire movie.
Right. And you
Would
might
we have-
not have seen
Right.
it.
If
We
it was
might
just
not
a
have
movie
given a
about
shit.
kidnapping, I would have
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
I would have been like, no.
Another one of
Your
those
idea-
kidnap films.
Your
Taken? No.
Your
You're right.
idea for
Oh,
what the
yeah.
trailer could have been.
Yeah, so there's a part, and this is actually in the trailer, where she's like, she's all scared and everything, and then she says to Melissa Barrera's character, who goes by Joey, she's like, "I'm sorry for what's about to happen to you." And like,
Yeah, it's a
I was like,
great
if they just cut
delivery,
the
very
trailer
spooky.
there, or
Like, you know
like did something
something's
else
up.
there,
Right.
you'd know, like, oh, what?
Something's about to happen to
I
her.
think
You don't know if she's a vampire.
somewhere in the middle though. Like I am okay with knowing that it's a little girl vampire. The trailer goes farther though, and basically shows you things that she can do because vampires are so fucking nebulous. There's rules for every different kind.
Yeah.
But the movie, the trailer spoils a couple of like the fun surprises as to what kind of vampire, and then also shows some fates of some of the characters in the trailer. So it's like that I could do. I'm okay with revealing the premise. Like one of the examples you always give is Invisible Man. I'm okay with revealing the premise, but that's as far as you should go. Not show you all the things that they end up doing, right?
Yeah.
Invisible Man, cool. He's invisible, but we don't know that it's real or not. But don't show me all the cool things he does to gaslight her in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the...
Do you know this trailer? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Invisible Man?
Yeah.
No, but I was thinking about when you said we don't know if it's real or not, that I think it's SCTV sketch where Dave Thomas is playing a man who has created an invisibility serum. He invites all of his friends over and he drinks it and he's like, now I will be, and he takes all of his clothes off and he's just nude.
He's not
and they
invincible.
all can see him.
But it's
And
a
they're
classic,
like, yeah, so that's what I was thinking of.
If anyone knows Dave Thomas or SCTV at all that's listening right now, just go ahead and like type in me, because I get those references. But I doubt Dylan does.
Oh, I don't know that
one.
You don't either.
I don't know that one either.
Yeah.
I'll look that up.
SCTV.
And so in the chat, Chris says, as the dad of an Abigail, I see this as a cautionary tale. Dane says, after seeing Abigail, I will never see the Matilda musical on Netflix the same way again.
I haven't seen it yet, and I want to watch it. Now I feel like it's gonna be weird.
You're waiting for it to see if she's just
Matilda?
pretending to be a regular, normal girl.
This
She has
is
fangs in the
this
Matilda
was-
movie.
absolutely. I would suggest seeing this movie in theaters. It was really
100%.
fun.
It was
of fun.
It was really
blood.
fun.
Oh, I have a question about sort of about would I like it or not. What is the experience of pain when it's meted out, right? Like, is it like, and then they're off? Or is it like you see because that's another
There's
thing
no
that I don't
torture.
like. Okay, right.
All the extreme violence happens in a flash in this movie. There's no prolonged torture. There's no
Okay.
the cruelty is basically this vampire wanting to play with her food,
I gotcha.
but she doesn't like slowly tear them apart
Okay,
or anything.
cool.
It's
More
all,
psychological.
it's
Yeah.
all
torture.
it's
All right.
aggressive and fast, and it's so over the top at times. It is comedic.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
When JD was looking up the movies, looking at IMDb for some of this information, there are so many movies named Abigail. When you type in Abigail,
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
there's like
Yeah.
5 to
Really?
10
I
other
didn't see that.
Abigails. Yeah.
Oh, the director refers to the film as Ready or Not on steroids.
I think
I
Ready or Not.
I disagree. Ready or Not
disagree.
is way worse
JD
than
being on
this.
I
steroids is
thought-
not good. Unless you need it medically. But for like muscle building, yeah, the way he means it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, this was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the panel agrees. We have a quorum.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
quorum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me agree.
I
Um,
abstain.
Should we move on to
I think
the
we have to move
greatest
on-
film of
Rebel
all
Moon,
time?
I
Part
think the
2,
greatest
The Scar
film
Giver.
I've ever. I'm trying to think of the most.
You saw it
backhanded
before you
compliment.
saw The Pope's Exorcist, and at that time it was the greatest film you had ever
Yeah.
seen? Okay.
Yeah, I was being facetious before. Now I'm just straight up lying. This is
So
the best movie
Rebel
I've ever seen.
Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver.
Give it some life. Give it some
Hey,
life.
directed by Zack Snyder, starring Sophia Boutella, Ed Skrein, Stasner, Anthony Hopkins, and Jimon Hansu. When a colony on the edge of the galaxy finds itself threatened by the armies of the tyrannical region Basarius, they dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from neighboring planets to help them take a stand. Ho-ho! Woo! Fuck this
Very
movie.
similar to
Hold
A
on.
Bug's
This
Life.
fucking-
Hang on. Let's not.
damn it.
We should have. Let's
You're talking about
approach.
JD didn't even see the whole thing?
Let's approach this.
I only saw the first 10 minutes.
You only saw the first,
And I never saw the first
some
one.
towards the last.
Brian and I sat through it
I saw
the
whole
entirety.
thing. I watched the
Um,
whole thing.
Can you, for the purposes of this conversation, can you recap your thoughts on Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire?
I thought it was pretty cool, and I was like, that was pretty cool. I'll watch. I'm interested to
part
see.
two.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they handle the kind of plot threads that they left about the emperor and that princess and that robot. I was like, this is pretty cool stuff that could happen. Then I watched this movie.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
But that's where we leave it for now. Similar to this movie.
What will recap your thoughts on Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire.
Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Edgelord, Star Wars. Boring. Why is that in slow motion? The end. There's another one. Great.
That's in order. And it was Star Wars originally.
Yeah, I
should-
know.
Right? Like, I know you know.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think that's over. I think that's exaggerated. Like the story keeps changing. Like it was originally
really?
a Star Wars pitch, and I don't know if Star Wars didn't want it or if he was like, nah, I'm going to do this myself. Like the story
okay.
changes like 4 times.
Okay.
It's a derivative idea. Is
Very
basically
easy.
all you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like-
You have no experience with either of these films.
I love Star Wars though. So.
Yeah,
I mean,
Well, then you'll like something that's about the things that this movie is about.
I'm trying when I. Okay.
and I have 10 minutes experience with the second of these movies.
Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. I don't want to be overly reductive because I got really bent out of shape about it last time.
Mm.
So I think it is a poorly constructed Act 1 stretched out for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's like my least favorite thing. Yeah.
It doesn't tell a story. It's reading a Wikipedia page of plot
and then
points.
this happened.
I almost did that.
They
I
went
almost
there.
just read the Wikipedia pages for
It
both
would.
of
It
these
probably would
movies.
have
in
been. It
regular
would have been a
speed.
more efficient experience to find out
should've.
details about this movie.
Yeah.
I think the movie looked ugly. I'm talking about the first one.
first
I
one.
think the movie looked
Child of Fire.
ugly.
Mm.
Yes.
I think the slow motion was a detriment. Not because I'm like tired of it. It's because every action scene was in slow motion. I got time to see how poorly it was choreographed.
It also doesn't have the majesty of some, like Zack Snyder has some really good things about his films, right? And some
Sure,
of the early
yeah.
ones where those
Oh, yeah.
slow motion action scenes were very, very cool. And they looked and felt different.
They were
You know?
employed
Yeah. Yeah.
sparingly.
Yeah.
Effectively.
The whole point of speeding something up or slowing it down
Mhm.
is to draw the eye, to create emotion.
Right.
It's like music. What have we talked about this before? The sound is great. Turn it up when you want to hear it.
Mhm.
If it's always up, it's just fucking noise.
Mm.
So like any kind of like emotional impact or journey that you're taking the viewer through by slowing it down or starting it up, if it's always slow, it's just nothing is special. It doesn't matter.
It's just like the way that time passes in that movie is like
it's-
sometimes regular, sometimes less.
and that it's just, it's so irrelevant. It's terrible.
This is Child of Fire.
Child of Fire.
Yes.
I didn't like it at all.
No.
He
And
loved
now,
the second one though.
The second one, favorite of his movies.
I think if I hadn't watched the first one, I'd like this movie more.
Because they accomplish a lot of the same
I'm gonna
things.
actually try to watch it without having seen the first one.
Okay.
And see.
Well, you're about to
and
hear
see if he's
all
correct.
Because
It's fine.
it starts with it's so weird. Like I think that this is a better movie, but because of the first one, it sucks. Does that
Okay.
make sense? Like this is if
Yes.
this was just as it was without like the 2.5 hours of setup that
One-
didn't lead anywhere.
One or the other of these movies would
No.
be better if the other one was gone. Like,
No, because the first one wouldn't have been a whole movie. The first one still is not a whole movie.
Just set up.
that's true. That's
It's
a good
just
We're
point.
not
getting,
an
we're
actual
getting
movie.
our team together.
This is
If
this
you
is,
ended it a little earlier, you could be like, "It came to an end."
but not,
You know?
but not really. All they did
Um,
was have a fight, but none of the actual like plot that was
Were
introduced
accomplished.
was,
That they led
was-
one to believe would be accomplished in
At
the
all.
second half, which is
which didn't
it's
even
not a
happen.
half, it's a
Yeah. Okay. So
16th or whatever.
so I think that if you skip part 1, part 2 is just a passive, trashy action movie.
okay,
But because of the legwork of part 1,
yeah,
this is more frustrating, and it's
Yeah,
not.
you don't
good.
need part one at all.
Yeah, because Anthony Hopkins does a speed round voiceover
does, he
of
does.
all of
Anthony
the
Hopkins.
Yeah, he's the Nazi
When they did the
3PO.
opening crawl in vocal form.
yeah,
Yeah.
of all the words that are made up.
It's so
Yeah.
funny. It's so funny because a lot
yeah,
of movies
I
start
was
with
real lost
narration.
during that voice. I watched that part.
It's
And I was like,
might
what
as well
is
be
he
fucking
saying?
gobbledygook.
See,
Like,
so we had it playing while we were making making fried tofu last night.
Is that right?
Oh,
was
I was making
wonderful.
falafel when I tried to watch it.
Yeah, and so we had it on, and then both of us are like kind of listening to the over
Narration.
narration,
Voiceover? Yeah.
and it was just a bunch of words that don't exist. And so
I
me
thought
and
it was
Sushan
just
were
me.
both laughing, like Okay. Yeah.
I was like,
I didn't
I
catch
haven't
that.
seen
The
the first one. I'm not going to
Glarglepus
get
went to
this.
Scroodle Doops and then did the Fiddle Diddle.
I
Like,
want it. I'm gonna try and find.
I love that part of the first
I
movie.
want to
Glarglepus?
actually see like somebody if anybody can point me in the direction of like it written out somewhere. I would like to
That'd be
read it
very
because
funny.
it's so
that would
fucking
be fun.
stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's the region Belisarius of Korra of the planet Velt with
Yeah.
grain of
Doing this
Gunnar,
thing.
and then it's like the whole first movie is putting the team together, but the team doesn't share a single scene with each other. They don't get to know each other. You don't even get backstories.
Well, in the first one.
In the first
In
one.
the first one.
The
Right,
first
right.
one is literally it. I listened to the Slash Films review of this, and Jeff Kanata, who's a big D&D player, basically says like the whole first movie is reading people's character sheets.
Oh my
God. It's
Yeah.
true.
And going to meet them is like, now that we have assembled 3 people, we will assemble the 4th person into our assembly.
It's
Who's
just,
on that? He's
Yeah.
on. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Okay, cool. On the far edges of the Motherworld's reach, circling the gas giant Mara, was the small moon of Velt. There, a village of humble farmers lived a simple life, born of the earth. The shadow of the warship
Earth?
fell upon the fields. The ship's commander, Admiral Noble. This is the first movie.
Oh.
Demanded that. Oh wait, no, it's not. Sorry. Demanded that more that Velt's people could give. So it was that a woman named Korra and a man named Gunnar set forth from the village to gather warriors to stand against the dreadnought. On Niwodi.
They were joined by the mighty Tarak in the mines of Dagus, the fierce nemesis, in the Colosseum of Palais.
Coliseum. That's a real
Colosseum
word.
of Wait, is wayward a real word? No.
Yeah.
The wayward General Titus, and on the planet Sharon, Darian Bloodaxe and his
Sharon?
Lieutenant Milius.
In an ambush on the
Planet named Sharon?
In an ambush on the
They ran out of
floating
planet
docks
names.
of Gondoval, Korra triumphed over Admiral Noble,
No.
leaving his shattered body on the rocky coastline. The victorious warriors returned to Velt to collect their pay, the threat of a dreadnought extinguished.
Or so they believed.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so I watched the whole first movie intently.
Yeah.
I did not tune
You did
out.
not
I
blink.
watched it.
Yes.
This is the first time I've heard or read any of those characters' names.
Well, Belisarius, of course.
No, I'm talking about
Which is-
I'm talking about the party.
Oh, all the party?
Yeah.
They don't
First time
names.
I've seen their fucking
Yeah,
names,
yeah, yeah.
right? So even after paying attention, I'm listening to this opening crawl and I'm like, I don't know who that one is or that
Right.
one is. Is Gunnar the one that betrayed them or is it the,
Yeah, he's the good
guy? He's the
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
yeah.
Is he the guy who was in Haunting of Hill House on Netflix?
Yes.
He is,
Nice.
He's cool. I like
Yeah.
it.
And it's Gunnar.
Yeah. It's
As,
Gunnar.
as Anthony
Oh, it's
Hopkins pronounces.
Huh.
Okay, so
Interesting.
the second
I
movie,
didn't mind that at all, though.
I
I
think
was
the
like,
second movie is
I'm
better
used to
than
that
the
kind of thing.
first, but because of the first, it's not good at all.
Yeah. Well, I feel personally that, well, one, Belisarius is the name of the production studio that did many shows, including Quantum Leap in the 90s. And it was so memorable, Donald P. Belisario, and their thing was like carved into stone, Belisarius, right? So the whole time, that's
thinking
my
about-
association,
yeah, yeah.
right?
That's really
And but he doesn't do anything relating to that, so I'm already pissed. And
It has nothing to do with Quantum Leap.
nothing at all.
Yeah.
And I really feel like everything accomplished in this movie was the accomplishments of the first movie. They're like, we got to save this town. We got to save the town again from the same thing.
Are we doing spoilers or who cares?
I mean, that was pretty early in the
Well,
movie.
we gave. Wait, does anyone recommend this movie? I don't.
No.
No,
I
and I
do.
like that we have different feelings about Zack Snyder.
It's my
And
favorite.
yeah, I'm sure Alice has a few kind words to say about her 10 minutes, but give them a timestamp so they can just watch that.
I mean, all she did was watch the opening crawl 10 times.
Yeah.
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 So I like kept rewinding, like, what'd they say? Yeah.
Good
Is
Google.
wayward a word?
I could have recited it by heart.
Coliseum? What?
So spoilers starting
go.
now.
Yeah, Spoilers.
Yes.
It doesn't
So-
matter. Whatever.
We need to harvest some wheat. And this is a big spoiler for the movie because it takes 10 minutes for them. They got to bring the wheat in because
Oh,
the
fuck,
people,
man.
the empire needs the wheat,
wheat.
from them.
No.
Because
Just like
they
in A
need it.
Bug's Life.
Do you know that their weapon is the wheat?
Their
Their weapon is the grain.
townspeople. It's what they have over them.
Yes.
Right.
Hold on.
Yes.
Let's break this the fuck down.
Break it down.
All right.
Gonna get
I'm
real with
so
you
excited
guys.
for this.
5 days.
Yes.
hey, hold on. Wait, hang on, hold on. Okay. 5 days.
Yes.
5.
They're going to be back in 5 days. They're going to kill us all. We have to like fight them. But let's do the grain anyway. Hold on. How long does it take you to do all the grain? Half a cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's 6 months.
It could
3
be
months,
anywhere
4
between
months.
2 weeks to 6 months, but it's not 3 days.
It's not 3 days. All
Right.
right. So we got to do all that.
Yeah.
We got 3 days to do it.
Not
And
gonna
then
happen. Not
we
happening.
have 2 days to teach you how to be fighters. And you know what, though? In those 2 days, I think we're also going to build a system of fucking tunnels and trenches
Yeah.
that we all hide under and like caverns and like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
There's maybe 50 people there. 50.
Yes. And some of them are women and children who they weirdly say are in like a separate place.
And
a lot of women are fighting too. So why do they say that?
Also too. Okay, that's a lot of work to do.
There's a lot.
Bringing in the harvest, grain,
yes.
learning how to fight,
Yes.
digging trenches, setting up mines, traps,
Sure.
all of it.
Yeah.
Also, though, we've had time to sew 5
Banners
to 6
for
banners
each of
for
the
each
characters.
person.
That's right.
Every person has branding and banners.
Yeah.
And we had time to do that.
And you
though.
are the heart, and you're the mountain, and that's why I stitched you a
Meanwhile-
mountain.
Oh, you know,
I
a
don't
couple
think
more
these-
guys could be alive if not for these banners.
I don't think. I don't think any.
Nice stitching though.
Well, how the fuck? Like, as an omniscient audience,
Yeah.
I don't even know that about that fucking character.
Yeah.
Yet you do, and
just
you
met
had
him
enough time
yesterday.
to quilt a fucking banner
I
for
kind of
them.
feel like she already had the banners. She had them, and she was like, "You're like this heart one because
look, it's a mountain. You're
Yeah.
real strong.
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. I knew it
Like,
when I
oh
saw
my
you were a
God.
storm or some shit.
It was like the timeline of this movie was blowing me away.
Yeah.
a lot happened in the slow-mo
And again, I
parts.
kept thinking like. A lot of it happened in slow motion. It was slow motion for me, but it took a long time.
It's like the Speed Force.
It's like the Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just didn't come up.
And
It'll
also
be in the
too, like
third movie.
if you say something like it takes a half a cycle,
Yeah.
but then you still use days as a metric, like just
Even in the
fucking-
opening crawl, the Earth. I mean, maybe they're from Earth, and that just means any kind of ground now. I don't know. They didn't get
And it's just like the whole timeline of the movie. Because the movie was so kind of boring and stupid. I just kept thinking like, how long do you think it would take to do that?
Yeah.
How long do you think it would take to do that?
Well, and
like they set up some
Speaking
really good traps. How long would it take to do that?
Yeah.
Like fucking
The
A.
traps were pretty
they
cool,
were pretty
though.
cool traps
Sure.
that involved
Yeah.
killing themselves also sometimes. But
Oh.
the harvest, what I cannot emphasize enough, that it was like in this space opera action sci-fi movie, detailed
Yeah.
harvest scenes of each step when you throw up the little pieces and get it off of the other parts of the wheat, and then
Sifting.
you sift it
And then
you
grinding it
bind
and
and
then
you
flour, like, it
sheaf
was-
it.
Yeah.
And then they put it in bags and just like sit it
Hey,
around.
you know
They're
what?
like, well, they wouldn't touch if we're in here. They wouldn't come
So
in.
you're
It's like
saying-
they'll just shoot around it.
You're saying that it was irrelevant to have slow motion scene
Oh, it
of
was
the
slow
grain.
motion of the harvest too.
It was
But
my
what about
favorite
twice?
part.
Of the what part?
Why not twice though?
Yes.
Right, because they go and they show you what's happening with Nazi guy, right? The fact that he's like in his cocoon and coming out, and then they go
Yes.
back to
I saw
Right.
that.
we're doing more wheat.
Oh, there's more than one cut back to
yeah.
it.
Also,
yeah.
Also, brought back to life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nazi boy brought back to
Which
life.
was like, you knew that at the end of the first movie. I'm
Cool.
down, but
nothing is different about
no,
him.
he's just got a scar
so-
now.
Oh, he
So
could be
from a-
mentally unstable.
But he's not. Like,
That's what I'm
there's
saying.
no
They warn
consequences
us.
for it.
Oh, right.
Like he might not be right. We have to double check.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's like, get this thing out of my head. And they're like, okay.
Oh, we can't actually tell because he was
But
already
fine.
kind of a
Good.
jerk.
So if this was all one movie,
Mm-hmm.
which it's not, but if this was all one movie, middle of the movie, antagonists and protagonists come to heads, something happens, one of them wins, and then it sets up whatever's going to happen next. If in those instances, if the protagonist wins and the antagonist comes back, they come back with an advantage. So it's not the same conflict again.
Or they're like way crazier or something. You know, like
Nothing is different about him coming back. So when they fight at the end again, there are no fucking stakes.
So
because
in-
we've already seen her beat the exact same person, the
And this time
exact
she had
same
another
way,
guy with her.
the
Yeah.
same fucking tools.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's a
doesn't make
video
any
game
sense.
where you fight the bad guy and then his life goes down, but then he hops away.
Yeah.
So you have to
Oh.
fight other guys, and then he just comes back with full life again.
Such a bad
So
guy.
the thing about these two movies, and I think kind of Zack Snyder in general at this point, or at least with things like Sucker Punch, is it occurred to me Remember Image Comics when they started in the 90s? It was a big
remember
deal.
them.
So for anyone who doesn't know, in comic books, a bunch of talented artists who did not think that they were getting what talented artists should make of their caliber went and left Marvel and DC Comics, and they formed their own group called Image Comics, which is still going to this day. But the vibes of today's Image Comics are not the vibes of yesteryears.
Yes.
So, and it didn't even occur to me until years later that Image Comics is a perfect name for a group of artists who had little to no writing experience,
Sure.
starting their own comic companies, and then making visuals kind of the selling point with a backseat to story and writing.
Never cared for
And
that.
this feels like Image Comics did in the 90s, where I'm looking at it, and even though it's color-coded brown and gray, it's at least he's trying to make compelling visuals,
Oh, yeah.
but the writing is not there. And that's what sort of frustrates me the most, is because you can see that the money is there. The money is on the screen.
I feel less, it looked Netflixy.
Oh, did you think so?
I did.
I thought it looked pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it,
Okay.
it looked so good that I was like, why does the writing not match
What do you
what I
mean
was
by
seeing?
it looks Netflixy?
It's a little nebulous,
CGI?
but like, no, like a little less, a little
Okay.
cheap. And not everything on Netflix, no, like some things on Netflix look
Yeah.
amazing, right? So it's somewhat unfair, but it's like, video, TV,
Okay.
or like
'Cause
shot on video
it's-
as opposed to
it's-
film.
The first
kinda,
10 minutes
you know?
I watched, I couldn't put a word to it,
Yeah.
but maybe that's what I was
It's-
thinking.
It looks so the movie looks really, really clean,
Mhm.
A little too clean.
but the aesthetic is supposed to be gritty.
Yeah.
And there's just, it's like,
Yeah. Where's the dirt from the
Neither.
wheat? Why
Where's the dirt
didn't we
from
see
the
them
wheat?
washing it off?
so you're being coy, but, or not coy.
No, but I do agree with you. I was
like,
just yeah.
There's it's just, it's like the facsimile of
Mhm.
dirty as opposed to it being a lived in.
Nothing looks real in this movie.
Aesthetic.
The ships don't look.
When I
yeah.
said it looks ugly, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it's an ugly, they're ugly
Mhm.
movies. The first one, I think it was that floating island planet that they
where
go to.
Belisarius is with his
No,
cane.
after like
Oh.
before the one before that, where the Blood Axe clan. That was the
Which one are they? The one
ugliest
that come
setting.
by at the last minute here after
the
they're
fucking
needed.
squid face.
Oh, the squid face guy.
like
Yeah,
that
They
was
were cool though. They were nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
The whole
I
alien
miss the
race that you saw for
squid
one
face
scene, and
guy.
it did not matter whatsoever.
They were killed, but they were
Um,
one of the coolest parts.
but it
Aw,
all
that's
it
nice.
all looks like like everything
Mhm.
looked like green screen and like one little set, green screen, one little set, and like this is supposed to be a big old universe. Like when they go to the Coliseum planet,
Elysium?
the Coliseum planet.
Elysium. Yeah.
You like it's a establishing shot of just CGI Coliseum and then like tiny set with a
Yeah.
lot of people, like a fake looking
Mhm.
little set. Like it's not a, they aren't pretty movies
The
because
guy looks like that
he-
too. Belisarius looks like fake.
terrible
You know?
makeup. Like he
Yeah.
like they're all
that,
aged up, ugly makeup. No.
Oh.
Carrie Elways? No.
I'm thinking of Carrie Elways.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no, is he in this?
he was
he's
the king.
for a scene.
Remember
That was
when the
Carrie
king
Elways?
when the king gets stabbed a whole bunch, and for some reason there's an
Yes.
entire orchestra playing the whole time.
Trying their hardest to keep the theme of the murder with the song, because they do hit the beats.
Yeah.
When they kill someone, they accent it, and they can't even see because they're wearing
It's-
hoods. These people are.
This is
Brilliant.
it's a very stupid movie.
Yeah,
They're both very stupid movies, and I
But
don't
it's-
think there should be
it's
more.
not even stupid. Good. It's not even like
Well, there's
this
no-
is so bad and silly and fun that like I've got to
Well, it's not
smile on.
intentional.
There's no
Yeah.
It's
popcorn.
not intentionally done.
I'm just frustrated.
Did you
There's
have
no
popcorn?
fun.
I didn't even have popcorn.
Yeah, that's
Also,
part of it.
also too,
Yeah.
the way that this movie ends is just a setup for another one.
Another
Which I was like, partway through, I'm like, so I was interested in how did that robot get those antlers, a nature robot thing? What's the deal with the princess? Because even in the first one, you're like, she's probably something more is going on with
Yeah,
her,
yeah.
right? And, some stuff about all of that. And we didn't get any of that. Partway through this movie, more than partway, not enough time to do that. I'm like, what's happening? Are there more of these? There are four more he wants to do.
There are people online that are like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't judge one or the other. It's one movie in two parts.
It's
It's
not that.
This story is so brain-numbingly simple
Right.
that if it requires 4.5 hours for you to tell this story, you're shit at your job.
Well,
So
this is
many-
supposed to be
yeah.
the
You're shit at your job.
prequels of Star Wars, kind of, where this is like,
Setup.
he feels like this is a full story, and then you're so interested that you're like, what happens with
The
this
prequels,
other
though,
stuff?
which we'll talk about next week for the 25th anniversary of Episode 1, the prequels, though, are fucking masterpieces compared to this because even within,
Oh, yeah. No, I'm
even
not.
within each film, they have narrative threads that are closed, and then a larger movie structure that is narratively closed.
I hate that that's
This
probably
is
true.
Shit.
Yeah,
I
this,
hate
well,
this
this one is
doesn't
just
close
like,
anything.
oh, we're not telling you. We made it out like there were 2 movies, and we are not going to tell you the full story. We're not going to talk about what, Brian, you find the most interesting, they said to me.
Yeah.
We're going to hold that till
They say
later.
right
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. That must have been weird for you guys when
Yeah.
you were watching it, but
Yeah.
it really hit home.
Right when I tapped out,
And-
I was like, oh, all
yeah.
right.
Obviously,
Well,
it's
it's
not for
probably
me.
best.
It's in the
Yeah.
first 10 minutes. They're like, hey.
Not mine. Yeah.
But you can watch it. It's fine. And yeah, it was like you tricked me into thinking you had 2 movies, and you've got
But can I say
all he
some? I
does
want to
is
say.
kick the can down the
I
road.
want to say
Yeah.
2 nice things.
okay.
Oh.
There was some
The-
cool things.
The blaster fire
Cool.
was, I've never seen blaster fire like that. Laser. It's like God,
If it
out
was
of a volcano.
if it was
Lava, magma,
Yeah.
magma.
if it was consistent, it would be
Yeah.
cooler.
But
Yeah.
you know what else I wanted from those magma cannons? You constantly see it hits something and then splays out.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wanted someone to get hit by the splash
Oh, that would have been cool.
and get burned just from the
The splashing.
ricochet
Yeah.
of that. I thought those were
And
really
seeing
cool.
the move too was cool. Like they're not just instantly there.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of my problem,
Oh,
like the
yeah,
physics
okay.
of it. So like that's like they are all combustion
Yeah.
guns. Like they're laser guns, but it's like combustion, like an actual like rifle or a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got a pop. Sometimes it's a long laser that moves in slow motion. Sometimes it's just a flare. Sometimes it's lava. If there is a distinction between the two,
Right.
you've not set up shit
Right.
about how
Kind of like a
things
lava
function
setting.
in this world. And I don't need like schematics.
Sure.
Just set things up
hint at the
so
rules.
we understand them.
Yeah.
I should not have to read a book to understand your story.
Right.
I should not have to like.
Wait until the 4th movie was about the history of the guns.
We
The
have
other-
not even talked about the fact that everyone, like all the main characters, just have a scene where they sit at a fucking table and give their backstories.
Right.
Yep.
Except the one whose backstory you already know. And I was really like, is she going to say it again? Don't say it again.
She should have. And we get
Yeah.
more slow motion.
The other nice thing I wanted to say was Nemesis.
Nemesis was.
Nemesis was cool. She was the lady with the gauntlets.
She was cool. And those swords, lightsaber-ish they are,
yeah.
but the sword fights were pretty cool.
Yeah.
She had a cool
Yeah.
backstory, but she
But,
was
like,
fucking wasted in
She
this movie.
had
Yes,
two
yes.
gauntlets that were filled with like her ancestors, right?
I think
The-
they were just
the-
owned by her ancestors. Were they filled with her ancestors?
Yeah, it's the hate and bloodlust of her ancestors was
Like
in the
those
gauntlets.
gauntlets.
Oh, all right.
So it's
and then
not
just to see her
interesting.
sort of taken out by nobody, I was like, oh,
Yeah. I wonder if that little boy will take the gauntlets.
cut off his own
He
arms.
could grow up. It
I would
could be
love
like
to see
10
that kid
years
cut
later.
off his own arms and just take the gauntlets
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And then just do
But
like
he's a
regular
kid,
stuff.
so like the gauntlets are giant
a
on
little
him.
bigger,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he
It's
just
like those little
plays.
kids that
It's
would
like-
get those like Hulk hands.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was like two Hellboy arms.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Dane says, Dane says, Noel, FYI, the mystery movie this past
Yeah.
Monday was Boy Kills World, which was ridiculously gory and puts Abigail to shame.
I ended up not going, but I'm going to try and see it this weekend when it comes out.
Yeah, I would really like to see that. I just watched the trailer for it.
Oh, awesome.
Christopher Goodnight says, Alice Wetterland will gladly tell you that most of the people on Silicon Valley were pieces of shit.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh, she's one of the actresses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except Kumail. Great guy.
And
Nice.
Chris says, could
And
Nick
maybe except other
Cage
people we don't know for
could
sure.
Nick Cage have saved Rebel Moon at all?
Maybe. Would he do all the parts and they would CGI him around?
Yeah,
you know what? I
Let's go to that
think
planet.
I think Nick Cage would have been cool in it, but I don't think he could have saved it because I think the problems with these movies is just like a systemic problem about just economic storytelling that doesn't exist, emotional journeys that are vapid. Like it is just not a good story told well.
Yeah. And
It's
the
just
whole
not.
like the one guy was a prince and his story, and like now we're gonna hear that when they're sitting around the table. And like that came out of nowhere, which is fine. But the
wild-
sitting around the table scene was
Wildly irrelevant. Like his whole backstory is wildly irrelevant. Like
I think
Also-
all of them were. I was
And,
waiting
well,
because
in
we
the-
had
in the later movies.
because we had
there's one.
specific backgrounds. Like the one guy had a connection with animals. I was like, okay, he's gonna have.
Oh, I forgot
He's gonna
about
use
that.
a
It
connection
doesn't
to
come
animals
up.
to turn the tide. or
Well,
something.
there's no
Like, it
animals
seemed like
in the second one.
yeah. It seemed
Right.
well, there's
He's just
horses,
wasted.
right?
Yeah, it's
I kept.
horses.
waiting for each of them to have a scene that sort of showcased their specific abilities and why they needed them in this fight.
She's got the arms and the swords, and he's got the animal
connection. It was just a bunch of shooting and stabbing.
There was one backstory that kind of made sense narratively, and that was General Titus's.
Mm-hmm.
About he decided to give himself up to save his men, but they killed his men anyway.
Oh, that was
the coolest
brutal. That was
backstory.
brutal.
Yeah.
But then, like 2 scenes later, they give that offer to Cora, who was sitting there listening to it,
Right.
and she was
You're
like, I'll do this. I'll save you guys. Like, are you fucking stupid?
And the guy too, Gunnar, is like, Gunnar.
Gunnar.
Is like, they're lying.
Yeah, he's like, you're an idiot.
Their whole thing, they don't care so much about you. I mean, they do now. They came here for the wheat. And
She was
they'll
too
get
busy.
the wheat if
She
they
was too
kill
busy
you.
cutting her hair for no reason.
I was like, I had to back up. I'm like, when did she cut her hair?
How do you get that good of a fade up?
Well, she was highly trained.
How do you get that good of a fade out
Highly
with no one
trained.
helping you?
Yeah.
Also, they call when Titus, he for some reason has been pretending to be drinking alcohol, like he has, because he's like kind of an alcoholic.
Well, there was that slow motion scene where he dumps out
Right.
the alcohol and then puts it in the water bucket.
Well,
We know.
this, and it was the first and foremost in my mind. And so he was drinking this, and the guy's like, well, first of all, why is he doing it? Why is he pretending this? And secondly, the guy's like, the animal controlling guy, oh, it's spring water. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just call it water? Is there any other kind of water where you are? Is it just,
you have
oh, this
taps?
is river water? There's, right? You have some technology,
It's
but
true. There's the
Also, how do you
level
know
of
it's-
detail is irrelevant.
Spring water.
right. It's from a well too. We see him get it from the well.
So he's wrong.
Well water. He knows about animals and being a prince. He doesn't
That's
know
all he
anything else.
knows.
Also, apparently, you're not a man until your father dies.
Yeah, that's a weird sentiment.
What?
They
Yeah,
say
wait.
that in the middle, Alice. The queen is like, no man or no prince truly becomes a man until his
Their
father
father
dies.
dies.
Because I guess that's when he's king. You know, not everyone has to do that. We could just do our own thing.
This is not good.
Also, I cackled when I guess someone was being murdered.
You
Someone
love that
wanted.
stuff.
Someone wanted. I do love murder.
Cackled at the murk.
Yeah.
And I just
It was somebody outside of his window.
someone's like weird accent was kill him.
I don't remember.
It was awful. I'm trying to remember what scene it was, but
These movies. There's apparently more planned, but
Such a
something
betrayal.
incensed me in some of the interviews about it, where Zack Snyder was like, we have a trilogy planned, but I don't know if the fans would expect that to be 4 more movies or 2
Why
more
would anyone
movies.
who knows what the word trilogy means expect it to be that?
Because this is 2 movies in 1 movie.
that's true.
And the other ones will each be individual movies, or one of them will be.
That's what he
Is
was
this a
saying.
riddle?
That's exactly what he was trying to say. He was like, I
Maybe
don't know if my
riddles for
fans
us?
would accept it just being
Uh-huh.
1 sequel when now that it's been established that it's 2 movies to take up 1 story.
You can just call any amount of things any amount of things.
the point I'm trying to make is
Yeah.
this is wildly fucking irrelevant.
Yes.
And it has nothing it's like he's reverse engineering expectations and or how to make it
Oh, like
before
hyping
the
it up.
story's even created.
Right, right.
Like the story should dictate
How many
much
movies
time.
do they want?
I know my fans.
And then I'll just
and they
stretch
will
shit
not
out
sit
to-
The
until.
story should dictate what happens
Yeah.
next and what format it is, not, well, it's going to have to be 4 movies because it's part 1 and part 2, and then director's cuts of part 1 and part 2
I
that
was
have
kind of
completely
interested in
different
the
scenes.
director's cut of the first one, and I am not going to watch.
Also, too, apparently it's all different takes. Also,
That's what I remember when we talked about the first one, the way you described that. I was like, I kind of want to see that instead of this one, but I'm not going to watch it.
it's not just
After
like it's
having
not just
seen
like
it,
more
right.
footage. Apparently, like even the footage
Right.
that they're going to do different takes, so it's like an alternate version,
Like that other
completely.
version of Anchorman, The Legend of Brown
I
Burger,
was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing.
which is funny. It's cool that they
But
did that.
the thing about it too is like you call that a director's cut. Like director's cut are you wrestle back
Right.
the footage to
Nobody
create
told you
something
you
else.
couldn't do that.
Not like I'm gonna make 2 versions of the same movie for feelings.
Yeah.
I think somebody
Feelings.
we should ask him who cut this one.
Yeah.
Who did this one? It was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Is
it
this
was
the
the guy that I
editor's
know.
version?
Yeah.
He was works at
I
my
don't-
coffee shop.
If he's got 30 hours worth of story, make a fucking TV show, my guy.
Sure.
Like, why are these movies?
I also would like to bring up the improbability and like just craziness of the plan when so this is their coup,
Is
right?
this day 3 or 4 or 5?
No. This is in the past when the woman killed
Arthur.
Yes. When she killed the Scar, when she became the Scar Giver, even though I guess she gave Belisarius the Scar.
Did she always have the Scar Giver name and then she gave Belisarius?
Yeah, and he was always on her. Like, you got to give somebody a Scar.
Belisarius is Beardy
It's
McGee. That was her
Scar
dad.
in The Lion King.
Is it her like adopted dad? Did she scar him?
No, but that's Belisarius.
Yes, but who did
I don't know
scar?
who Nazi guy. What his name is?
Oh, I don't know, but he was like a child.
But anyway,
And
I have
so
no
anyway,
idea.
the coup. They're in this place. She is like the just loyal right hand of Belisarius, adopted daughter, trained by him. And she's like, he's like, kill her. And she wrestles with it, but she does it. And then immediately, in front of all these people who just slaughtered everyone, Belisarius screams out like, she did it.
What have you done?
She's the one that did all of this. I'm like, one, why pick her to be the scapegoat when she's your soldier, the main one? And two, why? These are all the people that just killed everybody. Just say that when you leave the room. You're like, I think somebody killed them.
It wasn't me, but something crazy
I just came
happened.
in and they were.
I have the answers. Now, first of all, that your problems with that scene, that whole sequence, are wildly valid because the movie doesn't actually explain to you or visually tell you what the reason is. She was adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And was just manufactured as the main scapegoat, and all of those people are in on it.
Oh, she was adopted to be the scapegoat from the start.
She was just adopted as just a child of fire.
Right.
She was a fucking orphan in the war, and he
title of
brought
the
her in.
first one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now whatever.
Why not just get another scapegoat and then just say that they did it? Like,
She was.
they all
she was
could
like,
lie.
She was not of the bloodline, impure, blah blah blah. So like they just all agreed.
Right.
This asshole. We can frame this asshole that did all this.
It's like, what do you guys keep talking about?
Because she's not around. It's like advantageous, but the movie doesn't really do any work. It's so melodramatic and so improbably stupid that it doesn't actually do any of the emotional lifting that would require you to understand.
And that's kind of an interesting.
Other than do just like yelling, "What did you do?" After we watched the whole scene.
You just told her to do that. You commanded, and then when she hesitated, you said, "You better do this now," and then immediately flipped. And now that is an interesting idea, much like the robot with the antlers. Like, I would like to see those
Why
stories.
did the robot put the antlers on his head?
No idea.
I know, right? I would.
Also, he just
went
shows
off.
up after half of the village has
He had
been
enough.
murdered.
So I don't
It was like,
remember.
this is too much.
I don't remember how
I
Jimmy
feel like
the
you
robot.
guys are kind of making all of this up just to mess with me. 'Cause I haven't seen the movie. I'm like, what?
How did Jimmy the robot get his name?
No idea.
It's short for James.
Well, no, he's not joking. So I don't know why or how he was Jimmy in the first movie, but when Cora sees him for the first time in like under the water in the ship that she could have flown out of the ravine instead of them pulling it out of the ravine, whatever.
Right, it's fine
because it worked.
Right.
She knowingly looks at him and goes, "Hello, James."
Yeah.
They have a relationship that I didn't know about.
I think he was one of the
just
princess.
like came out of a box.
He was one of the princess's guard robots, I believe.
But he came out of a box, as in like maybe one of those, one of the robots,
like the kinds of robot.
Yeah, I didn't know that he is like a specific person bot, but she calls him James.
So when we are introduced in the beginning of the first film, she's been there for a while hiding out, and then the Jimmy JC1435, he's been there also, right?
No,
he's
turned on at that
the
time.
motherboard. Like he's brought by as just like
he was on before.
Sorry,
that.
movie, I tried.
I think he did have an active existence before that when the princess was still around.
Those robots were created to protect the king's bloodline.
Right,
like,
right. Now he has no purpose anymore.
Royal Guard has no purpose, so they just like pop him out of the box to lift their
you know why?
shit everywhere.
He carries stuff around.
His model, the JC1435, was one of the several identical androids created to defend the royal family of the Motherworld. They were collectively known as the JCs or Jimmies. So all of them are
They're
Jimmies.
all Jimmy.
So why does Sprinkles?
So it's not short for James.
So
Sprinkles the Jimmy.
What
Depends
is
on what region you're from.
Okay, cool. colloquially known as Jimmy's.
Sure.
They are JC's.
Right. They
Or
didn't say
James.
that.
Why the fuck does she refer to him as James as though they are friends and know each other? Because he is Jimmy,
Yeah.
which is short for the JC blah, blah,
JCs.
blah. So
Well, she's like really
No,
clever
they're-
and funny,
they're
and she
known-
likes to.
Known more
Go back
simply
around
as
with it.
James or Jimmy.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the first line.
The idea of the robot who's like
So
ornate
stupid.
and cool looking without the antlers and everything. The idea of the robot in nature and the philosophical robot and like this visual that they gave, like I want to see a story about that. I love that kind of
Let me tell you a
thing.
tale.
Tell me, is it about this?
It's about
philosophical robot nature guy?
another movie by
Mhm.
Zack Snyder.
Okay.
Which was the terrible one? The worst one? The worst one.
Hard to say what you would think.
Army of the Dead?
Oh no.
Sucker Punch?
Sucker Punch.
Oh, you just said that a couple minutes ago.
And I forgot
That's
it.
why I didn't think it was. that.
And I remember seeing the trailer,
Uh-huh.
and there was like a woman with a sword in a schoolgirl outfit
Mhm.
leaping in slow motion, which about to attack a giant samurai with
Yes.
a Gatling gun.
Yes,
And I said, I'm in.
that was cool.
And then, because I want to know what that is. I
Emily
know what that's
Brown,
about.
right? Or
Yeah.
No idea.
yeah.
And I
She's in
walked
American
out.
Gods also.
I walked out that theater, and I told whoever I was with, I was like, I can't believe they took that scene and made it awful.
Like you weren't into
Like there
it.
was how
Yeah.
did they make a movie that had that in it?
So you want to
Awful.
see that
No.
movie?
Okay.
Something cool, much like I want to see a movie about this nature robot philosophy
It's just
guy. Yeah.
my point is that he
Yes.
makes a visual
Mm-hmm.
and then that's it.
Well, because it was one of the closing visuals of the last movie, and it was a very cool like closing. Like, what's going on there?
But-
That far shot guy in the
but it
front. You don't
wasn't-
know. I don't know.
He doesn't know.
But it all happened off screen in every
No,
way,
but I
shape,
thought we
or
were
form.
gonna get it in this one.
Yeah.
You know, it was like
You have high expectations. Like
Did.
Army of the Dead had like 3 really good ideas and they did none of it.
I didn't even
None of
bother
it.
with that. And I love zombie movies.
There's a whole concept. It's Vegas and the zombies dry out. So there's this whole concept
They
of there is a field of petrified zombies.
Oh.
And they have to like walk through it.
Oh,
and
if you touch them or something.
And then some no, they're
Oh, yeah.
they're immobile. They're
Oh.
dried out completely because
Okay.
it's the desert.
Husks.
Someone
Desiccated.
mentions offhandedly Chekhov's gun style. If they get wet or it rains, they'll all come back to life.
Sure.
So immediately I'm thinking like, oh, that's the third act. That's going to be so
This is
fucking
gonna be
cool.
real bad for these guys.
Never happens. Never's mentioned
Yeah.
again. The whole city gets exploded.
Wow.
It is such a good idea.
It is.
Sets up a wonderful set piece, and they don't touch it. He
so
just
weird.
wanted
Yeah. The threat.
petrified zombies.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, and to answer your question about
What was it?
what happened with Jimmy James,
Yeah.
James,
Jimmy James.
and
From
how
his-
he gets
from
the
News Radio.
antlers.
Man, so nice to name
Yeah.
him twice.
The answer is he has a bigger role in the sequel and an expanded character arc in the director's cut. So the answers you're looking
Director's
for,
cut.
you're going to have to watch the director's cuts.
Can I
If
ask
I
if
want
we
those
know
answers.
why he has antlers?
No.
You know, that's the whole point. We don't
No,
know.
we don't know.
We
I
got to
wanna know.
find out in the
He's-
director's
he's
So
cut.
he doesn't
attained-
always have them?
He starts out
Do they grow
antler
like a
free.
deer?
No,
Like Bambi?
He puts them on, I think, because he's got a clothes. He's a robot who puts stuff on. Robots don't do that all the time, and so it's you know about robots, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
you don't see him
Classic
walking
robot.
around with accoutrement. So this
Zero-
guy's
With
got
one
it.
of those priest scarves things.
Yeah.
He could
The armor
if
of God.
He earns it.
Armor of God.
And yeah, so no, it's just like a really interesting. Like he goes out and puts that on for some intriguing reason.
You
What's
just thought it was
potentially
neat.
intriguing?
What's
I'm
the
intrigued.
runtime of this
It
movie?
might not be satisfying.
What's the
Um,
runtime of this movie?
Too long.
Have you ever seen it's in The Simpsons where
Yes. Oh.
Marge is just like, I just think they're neat. I'm
Potatoes.
just like, yeah,
Oh,
potatoes.
Yeah.
I like to think he's. Why do you have the antlers?
I just
I
think
think
they're
they're
neat.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, that's
So-
also really interesting for a robot to
Yeah.
want that, but it's not what I was thinking.
All right.
So this is hang on.
And then they get blasted off and it's like a shorter.
This is a
round.
Rotten Tomatoes score is
really
like
signifying.
15%,
Like Hellboy
which is
when they're,
lower
like,
than the
shaved?
first one.
Yeah.
The movie is 2 hours and 3 minutes long. There's a YouTuber that clocked all of the slow motion in this movie,
Mm.
and it added up to over 20 minutes.
A
So
lot.
it's like
Absurd.
what
The
20
what's the
20 to
percentage?
25%, 20 to 25% ish of the entire runtime is in half
Yeah.
speed.
And I saw someone on Twitter was complaining about, how everyone hates slow-mo all of a sudden. Like, no, man, we don't hate slow-mo. We just hate
slow-mo.
useless slow-mo that's there for no reason. It's not there to emphasize anything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Dylan, you know what the Scavenger's Reign? I know Dylan is a fan of it as well. They do a robot nature thing in a very cool way.
Ooh.
And yeah. So
There's
there
an
you have
animated
it.
series on the Mac.
Is there,
beautiful.
Are there
Absolutely gorgeous.
director's cuts? How many
The
different
director's cut, I think,
versions?
was the one that they aired. The director was like, I like
That's
this
my
one
cut.
and you
This-
should do this.
This is the one. This is the one that I want you to see and not
Mhm.
arbitrarily create after the fact. For
Right. He
Clout. I don't know what the
wanted
fuck this is
to
for.
do it right.
I
I
think
don't
he
think
just likes hashtags, man. I think he just likes the people who
Or into
beg
stuff, the
beg him for more content.
hype and the money.
I
he
think this movie
receives
this movie
for them.
got abysmal reviews. Even fans are not fans of it.
Yeah, like I like Zack
And,
Snyder. I like his stuff.
I like some of it.
he's he precipitously destroying his own legacy.
Yeah.
And I think that the viewing numbers are going down. Also, like I don't think that they should do more.
You don't think he's getting 4 more movies?
I think they should. I think they
For
should
the trilogy.
stop.
Yeah.
I really do.
Trilogy,
Think, I don't think that it's advantageous for Netflix
Hitchhiker's
anymore.
Guide.
Like they spent almost $200 million on these 2 movies, and I don't know where that money's coming from.
We're just a Star Wars 7 Samurai.
But it's
Yeah.
not even a.
Which is the thing.
So-
Star Wars is that too, but we really like Star Wars.
There's no. There's
that's the difference.
it's just not done well. There's nothing wrong with all of those tropes and all of those plot lines that we see over and over again. There's no such thing as originality anymore. I hope everybody knows that. Every
You've been
story,
saying that. I've heard it.
everything you watch and enjoy is derivative of something else other than or that was created 3,000 years ago. Like
right.
there's no such thing as originality. That's fine. Do it well.
Yeah.
Do it competently. Tell a story. Make me emotionally invested.
You know how easy I am when it comes to like being emotionally manipulated by pop culture. Like
Yeah.
I will
Mhm.
cry on a dime if you put in just the tiniest bit of effort.
So single dime.
Yeah. I was watching it with no emotions at all, other
wasn't a
than
lot to-
frustration.
There wasn't a lot to be emotional about. I mean, when that guy died, I was like, well, that sucks.
Oh, that guy.
Like he seemed like he was fine, and also it would be cool if he was around.
That was actually
But that
the
was like-
one good emotional beat in the entire
Yeah,
movie where
yeah.
she missed him dying because she was watching like
Missed that part.
that.
I was watching that other thing too.
You were also distracted.
Yeah.
You fell
There's-
for it. They
It
got
was
you.
maybe my phone.
It was like it was like the only effective emotional beat in the entire movie because she is there nursing him, hoping like stay
Right.
awake, stay awake, stay awake.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was the only
It was
good emotional beat.
It was, and it was also a bit of a trick because he got through a time when if he was going to die, he probably would have died by now, and he didn't die, and it was like, oh, he's just shot, which can sometimes be fine, you know.
It's just the way that he decided to shoot it by cutting away and then coming back and he's already dead instead of this protracted stupidity. It was
how he shot
it was
that
the only
thing
it
to
was the
start
only
fight.
artistic
That shit was
choice
cool.
that actually like tried to manipulate as
sense.
opposed to
Mm.
like it was this movie sucks.
Yeah.
All right.
And when
Well,
that
email
tease
us
shows
at
up-
cultpopgo@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of Rebel Moon 2, Scargiver, or what is the other movies that we talked about?
Abigail.
Silicon Valley,
And
Hope's Exorcist, Late
Bambi.
Night with the Devil,
Exorcist.
Bambi the Reckoning trailer. If you've
I
watched
also
Winnie the
mentioned
Pooh,
Deadpool
Blood and
2.
Honey,
Yeah.
let us know how
Let
it
us
is.
know how it
seen
is.
any movie,
Tell us about it. That's
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.
Done, motherfuckers.
YUNKJunk!